Stephanie here from HMO Heaven again. Great to be back with you tonight. So, a big one tonight. It is how to eliminate rent arrears. It is possible, and it's just 3 simple steps that I'm going to talk to you about tonight. In these series of videos, really, we're taking you behind the scenes, what we do in our business, to the systems that we have to make sure things run as smoothly as possible. So let's get into it, because we're doing this because so many times we get calls from landlords and we talk to them, and you know, they might have had a tenant who's not paid rent for 6 months, over 6 months sometimes, and the property is being fully managed by an agent and no eviction notice has been served. And that's putting a real hole in the profitability of the business. Often landlords are losing money. And so I know that even though these 3 simple steps, many people are not doing them and are really suffering because of it. So the first step is to ask all your tenants to pay on the same day. So for us, that day is the first of the month. And for us, all of our tenants, the rental period goes on the first day of the month to the last day of the month. So the most important thing is, however you have yours working, whether people are paying all the way through the month or not, make sure that you check that the rents are coming in. I would encourage you to move to where all the payments are coming in on one day if you don't have that set up at the moment. What we do rather, is if somebody moves in partway through a month, then they pay a part month for the first payment, and then the recurring payments then go on from the first after that. Okay, so number 1, the first thing, you know, all your payments are on the same day and you're checking that those payments have come in. That's number 1. So number 2 is that you contact anyone who hasn't paid immediately. So as I say, on the first working day, all the tenant standing orders should come in, and then on the second working day, then I will contact anybody or Luke, our property assistant, to just a polite inquiry, especially if it's one of our tenants who's usually very good at paying. Sometimes there can be a little glitch at the bank, or little things can happen and things can go astray. So it's just a simple inquiry. Your rent hasn't arrived with us this month. Can you please check on it and let us know? Make your payment as soon as possible, and please let us know when you've done it. Something along those lines. We've got some standard text that we use, which we would send out to people in that scenario. And then usually what happens is the payment's made within the same day. But what we do is we call or text, and then it goes to email or letter. But we haven't had to go, we've only had one person ever who we've had to go down a formal procedure with, because everyone else has paid their rent. So call, text, and then email. And then the next thing to do is, if somebody either can't pay or won't pay, what we do is talk to them and assist them in moving out, whether that's moving in with a family, finding somewhere more affordable, will help them, because people who are in the can't pay or even the won't pay situation, often their lives are very chaotic and they actually can't move forward. So we will assist. As I say, we've only had it in one situation. With everyone else, we've either done it by voluntary agreement, where people can see I can't really afford to live here, so I'm going to move on, you know, on my own accord, which is great, because we don't want the tenants. It's not great for, you know, a tenant to be racking up these huge bills, having a CCJ against them, and so on, when there are other options for them, you know, to stay with family for a while, or whatever the case may be. So we work with them to negotiate something with them. But meantime, we do serve the Section, our procedure is to serve the Section 8 notice. as soon as we're able to do so, which means when the first rent that's due hasn't been paid and the second rent that's due that hasn't been paid, then we would serve the Section 8 notice. Now, we'd encourage you to do that even if you're making an informal agreement with the person to move on, so that just in case they don't go, your process is not then set back. And the final thing is that if somebody goes and we haven't come to an agreement with them and they've left owing money, then we would serve, and then we encourage you to also use the money claim online and to lodge a county court judgment against the person, so that other landlords and other people can see that that person might be a debt risk or hasn't paid their debts in the past, and to follow up on that so that people realise that it's not acceptable to not pay the rent. And this is all to do with what I've talked about today, is the 4 steps. So you don't have rent arrears, and certainly not these 6 months, 9 months, a year, and so on that some landlords have, that everything's dealt with very quickly, which is better for the tenant as well as obviously for yourself. So this is when you've already got people on board, but this really starts before people come on board. So you'll see my other video, which is the red flags to look for when choosing your tenants, because really if you choose the right tenants, then you have obviously fewer problems at every level. So again, that's the 3 steps plus the CCJ, as I mentioned, and it's the 3 simple changes, big impact. So I hope you find that useful. Remember, do join us across at HMO Heroes on Facebook for motivation, inspiration, information, and to carry on the conversation. We'd love to see you over on Facebook, and I'll put the link for that below as well. And of course, lastly, if you found this video useful, please press subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and give me some love in the comments. Okay, or tell me you don't agree. I'd love to hear what your point of view is. Okay, I will see you next week, guys. Bye for now.